The New York Mets collapse is on. Buckle up, everybody, because this is going to be an epic collapse of all proportions that we've not been used to in a few years with this team. We've had moments with this team. We've had seasons where this team has given up completely, but it's been a while since we've seen something this drastic, this pathetic, this non-competitive as the New York Mets have been over the last 2 months. This is becoming unwatchable now. They're becoming completely unwatchable, and nobody seems to have an answer, right? Just get settled in. Nobody seems to have an answer on this team. The manager doesn't seem to have an answer. The players don't. The pitchers don't. The general manager doesn't. The owner doesn't. Nobody seems to have an answer on how to stop this thing. If I had an answer, I would put it out there. The Mets are making the most optimistic of fan stop believing in them. This is exactly what the Mets are doing now. People like me who are extremely optimistic with this team, I give it the chance. I give it every chance in the world, man. I'm not ready to quit on this team yet, and they're not quitting either. The Mets aren't quitting. They're just playing bad baseball. And every single night, something's happening to where they're changing it. They're changing your thought process every single night. Just when you start to believe again, game 1 against the Braves, they come out, Pete Alonso breaks the home run record for the Mets. Great accomplishment for him. They come out, he breaks the record. Mets pop 13 runs on the board, but then the pitching gives up the lead right away. But the Mets also put the 13 runs up. So you said, you know what? Maybe they're going to break out. Maybe things are going to change for the better. That doesn't happen because in game 2, they go up 6-0. The vibes were immaculate. Everything was great. They blow a 6-0 lead, which they've been accustomed to be doing over the last 2 weeks, blowing big-time leads. And David Peterson, our one reliable pitcher, David Peterson, gave up the lead. The Mets choked it away, gave up 11 unanswered runs, and lost that game. Game 3 tonight, a must-win. Kodai Senga had to go deep. He did that. He gave us 5 2/3, which was amazing. After that, bullpen gave it up. Mets had a 1-0 lead early. Ozzie Albies hit the home run to tie it up. Braves took a 2-1 lead. Mets answered right back, tied it up, and then took the lead in the bottom of the 5th or the 6th. Oh, it says it right here. Bottom of the 6th inning, Mets take the lead right back. And then that's all she wrote because in the 8th inning, Ryan Helsley, who we acquired at the deadline to lock down the 8th inning, has done everything but that. He's done everything but that. I don't know what the answer is at this stage. I'm not mad anymore. The emotions that this team has put a lot of the fans through right now has been way up. They were 21 games above 500. And then there's been no middle ground. They've been really good or they've been really bad. And for the Mets to come out of this funk, it's going to have to take a full team effort that I don't see right now. I don't see how it changes now. In the beginning of the season, the Mets were getting great starting pitching, and it was masking a lot of the problems with the offense early in the season. It was masking a ton of problems with the offense early in the season. We weren't getting hits with runners in scoring position. That's been a consistent all season. And now that the pitching has come back down to earth in the last 2 months, the hitting is still at the place that it was to start the season. And now that both of those things have met, this is the result you're seeing now. The Mets are 43-48 in their last, how many games is that? 80, 90? Yuri Arg, what's up, bro? Appreciate you for coming in. Yeah, I'm trying to stay calm. Trying to stay calm with this because I've been a part of a few Mets collapses in my lifetime. 07 being the first one, which is way worse than this. The Mets were up 7 games with 17 games left to play, and they blew that lead. So even 08, they collapsed. They were up 3 games to end the season. They wound up losing that. I've been a part of a lot of collapses with this franchise. This one, the difference with this one is that we were so high in May and early June. We were 4 games up in the division, but that's why they play all these games. But now, when you have a team that's finding different ways to lose on a nightly basis, like the Mets are now, it's almost impossible for anybody to come up with reasoning on how the Mets are going to get themselves out of this. It's impossible. You thought tonight with Senga giving you 5 2/3, almost 6 innings, would have been a huge improvement, and it was a huge improvement at the time. It truly was. It helped out tremendously giving us those innings. Mendoza could have left him in for another batter, but Albies really has his number. Albies has Senga's number, so he took him out. They wound up tying it, but then the Mets got the lead back, and then they got everybody in position that was supposed to be in position when they acquired this bullpen of Helsley, Rogers, and Diaz. The Mets had a lead late, 3-2 lead in the 8th inning, and then they blew it. Helsley's not been good since he's been acquired by the Mets. His first outing was excellent, and since then, he's struggled. Do you truly believe heads will roll if the Mets don't make the playoffs? No, I don't think so. Cohen and Stearns are the mainstays here. Obviously, I think Stearns is one of the best executives in baseball. I know a lot of people want to see Chavez, and now the talk now is everybody wants to see Hefner as well gone. The Mets have led the league in walks over the last 2 seasons, so that's a big concern. Getting rid of Chavez, I mean, something would have to give if the Mets completely miss the playoffs, right? If the Mets don't make the playoffs at all with this payroll, adding Juan Soto, getting Pete Alonso back, bringing some of these guys back that they brought back, the big pieces, then something will have to be done. Something has to be done. Whether that's firing Chavez, whether that's getting rid of Hefner, which I wouldn't do. I would like to keep Hefner. I think he's getting a bad rep now with the starting pitching. It's not all his fault. I agree. I don't think getting rid of Chavez is the answer either. You have plenty of guys on this team where the back of their baseball card is really good. Getting rid of Chavez is not going to help Juan Soto get hits with runners in scoring position. Pete Alonso is having a better year than he had last year. Don't know how much of that involves Chavez. Lindor's having a up and down season, a typical Lindor type season. Nimmo's having his typical year. The same players that we've had over the last 3-4 years are giving us the same kind of production. And even so, Pete Alonso's giving us more production than he has over the last year or 2 years. So everybody could blame Chavez all they want. The players just have to perform. Now, the bigger problem that you see down here, when you look at this part of the batting order, from McNeil 5 all the way down to Terrence number 9, 0 for 16 tonight. 0 for 16 from the 5 through 9 hitters. Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. There's no way the Mets can continue to win games without getting full production from anybody in the bottom of that order. Mauricio doesn't play for 4 days. He plays tonight. He looks lost at the plate. Lost at the plate. And Elder, the pitcher that they were facing tonight, has given up 15 runs in his last 3 starts. He was there for the taking. This team has done a great job about making mediocre pitchers look so good all season. Every time. Something's missing. There's no heart. I'm not feeling. Yeah, that 2024 team, last year's team, there was a special feeling around that entire bunch. You never felt like that team was out of it. Like tonight, for example, the Mets go down 4-3 in the 8th inning. Last year's team, you fully believe that last year's team is going to either get a couple guys on in the 9th inning, create some sort of rally. Even if they don't tie the game, you thought that team would always give you a shot to be in the game. One swing of the bat. And comparing that to this year's team, just using tonight as a small example, the Mets go down 4-3 in the 8th inning, bottom of the 8th, lifeless, bottom of the 9th, even more lifeless. They just don't even put any type of rally together. So at this point with this team, it's like the second they fall down 1 or 2-0 at any point in the game, a lot of fans are just kind of tuning it out, checking out, because they know for this team to try and come back, it seems like it's almost been impossible this year. Especially because last year we were just so used to it. Last year was one of the more magical runs from a non-World Series team that you're ever going to see. It happens once in a while. The Mets were that team. Every year, there's a team that just gets hot, gets into the postseason, makes a little run, and they don't get to the World Series, but there's magic. Now, a lot of people are saying the Padres are that team this year. The Padres have been getting red hot. Vibes are crazy, and it's just coincidental that Jose Iglesias is on that team. But a lot of people are saying the Padres are that team now. So, you can't lose 2 out of 3 to the Braves at home. The Braves have checked out. Half the team is on the injured list. Some of their star players didn't even play in this series, and the Mets got embarrassed. Well, they didn't. I mean, game 1, yeah, but game 2, it was embarrassing. They blew that big lead, and then tonight is even worse. I think tonight was worse than yesterday. Tonight was just a worse feel than yesterday because they actually got length out of the starting pitcher tonight, and they had a shot to make this thing to kind of get this thing steered in the right direction for once. Stabilize the goddamn lineup now. Stabilize the pitching. Stabilize this team for just one night. Let the fans go to sleep for one night after a series win. And the worst part about this entire thing is that the Phillies lost again. The Phillies went into Washington and lost to the Nationals. The Phillies have not been playing well, and we're not taking advantage of that. That's what's pissing me off the most. The Mets in this series with Atlanta, the Mets could have gained 3 games on the Phillies. You want to say that's being greedy, whatever. At least the Mets would have gained 2 games. 2 games the Mets would have gained on the Phillies and it would have been a 3-game lead in the National League East with 7 left to play against the Phillies. You put a little scare into the Phillies at that point, who are not hitting right now. The Mets over the last month have not been able to match up with the Phillies when it comes to wins and losses. The Phillies have, not the Mets. When the Mets win, the Phillies win. When the Mets lose, the Phillies win. And when the Phillies lose, the Mets just can't get out of their own way. So if the Philadelphia Phillies decide, just like they did 2 weeks ago, we're going to win 5, 6, 7 in a row, the division's toast. That's it, because the Mets can't get out of their own way. Now, what you have is it's even more frustrating when the team that's in first place is in a slump and you can't take advantage of that. It's terrible. When I saw that the Phillies lost tonight And the Mets were up 3-2 when the Phillies game went final. The Mets were up 3-2. And you're thinking in the back of your head, all right, we're going to cut the lead we're going to cut the game to 4. We're going to cut the standings to 4 games. Phillies are still struggling. Here come the Mets. But no. Mendoza hit every button tonight. I don't want to hear the Mendoza stuff. He did everything he was supposed to do by the book. Brought in his good relievers to try and finish the game, and it didn't work out. You can question Mendoza with a few things. Tonight, you want to question him on the lineup. Getting Mauricio in there, who needed some at-bats. Yes, I understand, but Marte's been swinging the bat well. Terren's being in there is an automatic out, but he has to play because you need to give Alvarez time off. I don't know. Yeah, I can't wait, bro. I cannot wait for the Knicks to get started. The Knicks have to get started soon because this is getting tough to watch. This is on a nightly basis. You go into the night thinking, okay, this will be the night the Mets turn it around. And I thought that night was Tuesday when they beat the Braves 13-5. The vibes were crazy Tuesday night at Citi Field. Everybody was hitting. Alonso breaking the record. Everything was beautiful. You thought that would be the spearhead to get the Mets into a nice little streak. Nope. That wasn't the case. Seattle's going to be better. Seattle has one of the best pitching staffs in baseball, so I don't know. And then Seattle's been red hot. I think they're like 10-2 or 11-1 in their last 12 games. So they're coming in here red hot. They got the league's leading home run hitter and Cal Raleigh coming in here. So this team's just going to, I don't know how they're going to hit any of these 3 guys. I truly don't. Yeah, I'm excited. The Mike Brown hire got me excited, man. The Knicks, the schedule just got released today, so I took a look at that earlier. The Knicks are one of the favorites to win it all, and I haven't had a lot of that. I haven't been able to say that a lot in my lifetime, but truly, truly excited that's the case, that the Knicks are going to hopefully be healthy going into the season, stay healthy throughout the year, and do some real damage in the Eastern Conference. I don't see a team that's better put together than the Knicks right now. And they still have another piece to add. Just looking at, like, just for baseball, just to look at the baseball standings at this point. So, this is what kills me with the Mets. 5 games back now, 1-9 in their last 10. I think 2-12 in their last 14. The Braves, look at this. The Braves have been awful on the road this year. Awful on the road. And half their team hasn't even played. The Braves have been awful. That's the scary part. This number could have been 3 tonight. After tonight, the number could have been 3, but it could have been, realistically, it could have been 4. So then you go to the wild card standings for the Mets right now, and it's not any better. If you look at Seattle here, so they're 8-2 in their last 10. You look at Seattle leading the way in the wild card there, so they're playing for something. It's not like you're playing. It doesn't matter with the Mets at this point. The Mets are only a half game up on the Cincinnati Reds. The Mets are a half game up on the Cincinnati Reds for the last wild card spot. Half game up after being all the way up for a month. It's pathetic, the fact that this is even a race right now. And if you want change, let the Reds jump into that spot where the Mets are, because that might submit a change. So that's where the Mets stand right now. 07 was way worse, 100%. 17 games. They had a 7-game lead with 17 to play. There's no coming back from that as a Mets fan. But that's it. Thank you, everybody who joined. Yuri Ark, thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate the support. I'm going to hang this one up, and we are going to get back on it tomorrow. Mets are playing Seattle at Citi Field. Hopefully they have a win. And we can't keep depending on Philadelphia losing because eventually, like you said in the chat earlier, Yuri, the Philly's just going to start winning. So we need to take care of our own business and worry about Philly when we play them. So, guys, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you coming in. Till the next one.